Hello. How are you? Love these guys.
I
Oh, no,
what
opposite
are you doing?
direction.
Oh. um, so I think you might find this amusing, but because I didn't know how to like add basic attack bonus and all that stuff while leveling, uh, funnily enough, Ilin has a greater chance to hit with the staff than Valorant has.
Did you take the staff?
Yes, that's what we talked about.
Well, I'd mentioned it, and then Jake's like, I don't feel comfortable with that. And then you're like, so I'm gonna take the staff, and he's like, I'm gonna
What?
put my hair away. And you were like, I
He
guess
said
that
he was
means yes.
hesitant, but I think he said
Yeah, no,
yes.
I was. That's like I was like he. I was more or less just saying like one would have been like was Valorant, but he understands that it's the like passing the torch. So
I mean, I think Neil would be all for it because the idea of a magic item sitting there and not having value. Um,
I think it also just it works for the Cursefall thing because it is a part of Cursefall. It was a part of the curse in that was here.
correct. There's my.
I wonder what would happen if you did mending on the base of it where it broke off from the rest of it.
Try.
Not yet. I'll save that for a time when we don't have things to deal with.
So, then now that there was one more thing Leon would have said to you. He would have said, next time you speak to Kith, ask him about Xander.
Okay.
Leave it at that. So, you after your ascension would go and meet with the. Now, obviously, Nathan was supposed to go and introduce you. Who else is actually going to meet with the druids?
I thought it was gonna be all three of us, but
You can always hold off on that one and wait till Neil's here if you think that's too
you know,
important.
yeah, you know what? Let's do that.
Yeah.
We can retro say that you guys spoke to them.
I was about to say we'll have to do like a retro thing where we speak to them when they arrive. Then
That's fine. Cool. So let's get back to the other things that you guys are looking to do. Jake, you wanted to go head down to Visual while he was heading forward. So Visual's actually kind of on the way. So they can actually kind of drop you off, or you could travel with them and then break off with them at some point in time. No, it's kind of nice when you're heading south, traveling with Valorant and the army for a short period, because honestly, as you travel those miles to the south, you feel more comfortable in these woods here than you ever have in the over a year in the past. You spend so much time in a few days chasing around the angel, trying to keep up with them. You actually got kind of more familiar. Sorry, what is it? A couple weeks. Trying to get familiar with the woods during that time than you had prior, right? So, anyways, it's kind of nice when you're traveling through here, and you can kind of think to yourself. I almost imagine a little chuckles. You're like, I know why there's a scorch mark in that tree. That's pretty awesome. That's totally when the angel and I went up there, and the angel killed everything, and I got in just in time to watch it, and then we rode off. It was awesome.
it's all right. I did more damage than the angel. I'll never forget that.
Sure. Uh-huh. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be an opportunity for you to face an angel in the future.
I'll be right. I'll take it. Don't worry.
No, it's okay.
It's the most Australian thing. I'll be right.
It's okay, Jake, because what'll happen is you'll have to make a choice. You can either stand there and watch, or you can help Rayron.
Wow. Wow.
Nice.
Well, moving on. So you make your way south, and you end up splitting off from the group, getting to Visual before it is that they can get to. One of the other things I'd point out before you get to Visual, sir, is the camps. You've been here before, I believe. Were you the one that came last time?
To
With
where?
Nathan on the bird camps?
Oh,
mice?
yeah.
So when you go and see the camps, you can actually see that there are lots of little setup areas for where it is that they're doing their where's that working? I haven't had a sip of coffee yet. It's too hot. Sorry. So where it is that they have the different people being treated, etc., etc., etc. One of the things that you're going to notice when you first walk into this place is there are a lot less people injured and being treated here than there were before, but there's still a lot of people here. In the actual farm area itself, you can see that there's a lot of vegetation. They're still cutting down all of the plants that were grown by Nathan's assistants beforehand. They're still cutting those down to have them transported and processed as a medicinal herb for the people that need it. We can also say that Nathan also cast what's it called? Rapid growth, plant growth, whatever it's called. A few more times. He didn't just cast that once that day, because obviously he cares about the other people there more than just the medicine. He also could have cast it on some of the other vegetation that was growing there as well, that was designed to be for food, make sure that the people can actually have more than enough to survive, to sustain, without like struggling to get the food when they're fighting, trying to survive against the undead. So again, the spirits here are much higher than they were beforehand. And point of fact, this also happens to be where a couple of the tradesmen, when we're talking about the gathering, the bidding war that took place, this also be where some of them were as well, allowing you to stop in and see what other kind of stuff could be purchased, what other kind of herbs. It's a good thing Ilan's not here. He might slippery slope back into his old ways. Poppy seed. I need that poppy. When you kind of like looking through the people there, the spirits, like I said, are a bit higher, or a good bit higher than they were beforehand. Do you stop to talk to them at all, or are you just kind of slipping through to vigil?
I would stop and more or less. I spoke to someone and I said like, if they wanted to come back with us or whatever, we would eventually take them back. So I suppose I would check in, kind of thing, see how everything's going there, see if Nathan has helped micing out, all that stuff.
So when you, go heading through there, you can check out, make sure everything's good. Mycin is, as always, just Mycin. Conversing with him, if you choose to do so, is the same experience where you inhale those spores. So much fun. And very much eventually coffee will get to my brain. Very much a person that's just going to kind of give you as it is. He's not going to fluff it this way or that way. He's not trying to convince you of anything. It's just, yep, this is how it goes. One of the things that would probably catch your interest that you might be concerned about is you do actually catch rumor that there's a decent number of orcs that are over here. And again, when I say orcs, I don't necessarily mean the race. I mean people of barren lands. There's a decent number of orcs that have brought their way over here. What's more important than that is you're like talking to people here, kind of finding stuff out. Rumor is these are some of the people that retreated from, Orsugos.
Okay.
Would you approach them? Would you?
I would.
Check on that?
Yeah.
How would you approach them? Oh, let me set the scene. When you go to see them, you can clearly pick out which ones they are, because much like any group of people leaving the Barren Lands are an area where you just have to learn to survive. And learning to survive is not an individualistic thing. This is not, I'm a one-man wolf pack. That doesn't work in the Barren Lands. You will die. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but likely by Friday, you're going to die. So you have to stick together. You see that mentality when you go and you see them all kind of like grouped together. A small area. It's not a ton of them, but there's a number of them that are over there. You go to approach them, and you can see they've kind of like taken over a corner of one of the buildings that are set. Can you?
He would just kind of walk up and probably grunt at them and be like, "Hey, how are you all doing?"
Did you just Joey them? How you doing?
Pretty much.
No, really? What just
I haven't
happened?
seen friends in so long.
How you doing?
Jake, now we need you to actually like do that for us. Can you give us a Joey?
No.
Come on, Joey. Come on, Joey. Come on. No? I don't know. I'm not your puppet.
I recently, in fact, yesterday, got linked the Phoebe trying to teach Joey French. It's
That's I see that all the time.
It's so good. I was on the floor laughing. It was great. Friends.
It blows my mind that show's still popular. Like with new people, like new young people like that show. I'm like, you're 15 and you like Friends. But anyways, so yeah. So you walk up to them, just kind of, hey, and they look over at you, and you don't look like a Baron Lanzork anymore. You're all civilized. So they just look at you and have no idea who you are, and kind of give a couple of them give like a polite nod back. You don't really say or do anything. You don't stand out to them, person.
He'd probably switch to Orcish. I don't know if they speak it or not, but he'd say, "You're from Sugo's band, yes?"
Roll me a sense motive.
Does he really need to?
I rolled a 2,
Rolls a
76. All right, there you go. You can see that there is a kind of like a shuffling discomfort as you immediately pull them out for it.
Do I answer?
You'll have one of them be like, "Who's asking?" Sorry,
The
Orcish.
person that seen you running away from Varen.
You seem a long way away from Baron, you're saying?
I said the person that's seen you running away from Varen.
You say that, and there's kind of like a moment where they stiffen up, like kind of stand up, like you just insulted the posse. And so there's like 6 of them there, and they stand up.
He waits.
What do you want?
Just to see how you're doing. Or how you settling in here. Still raiding farms?
He gives you like a sideways look, and he's like, "What are you, a nurse? Check my pulse."
Maybe. Question still stands.
We're good. You can see there's that moment where because obviously a high perception check. You can see the people around there seems to, you know that they probably have weapons on them, but not like axes or swords or anything like that, because my system doesn't allow that here. Maybe daggers or even makeshift things, shivs, right? They would have fashioned together. They have weapons on hand. You can see that a couple of them look like they're not grabbing them, but definitely keeping their hands nearby would be a quick grab for it.
So what they say, they're good.
Yeah, we're good.
You looking to make any money?
Why?
You're from the Barrenlands, right?
Yeah.
Well, have you heard what's taking up residence in Vigil? Little taster back home.
What do you mean?
There are spirits inhabiting Vigil. I need to go and have a little look. Wouldn't mind the company. If you wouldn't mind the coin.
Look about each other, kind of thinking. Finally, one of them, the same one that keeps talking, is like, "Who are you?"
I'm the man that killed your previous leader. He wouldn't say man, he'd actually say, I'm the orc that killed your previous leader.
One of them kind of like slaps that guy in the arm. Get him to like lean back. And he says something, whispers it. And I mean, again, you have a disgustingly high perception, but why don't you roll it for me? Just because it's
Disgustingly high perception is a good description of it. For a second, he was going to roll low, and then that happened.
All right.
Funny enough, you just checked his heartbeat. So, you hear him say, I think that's the one. The guy's like, which one? No, which one? The one. The one what? The one. I don't know what you're saying. One. His name, One. From, he killed Orsugo. And he looks back and he goes, you the one?
I am one.
Looks back at the other guy, get a little confused. Just one?
People call me one.
Name is One. He says, giving a sideways look at the other guy, like, why couldn't you just say that? You know what I mean? Like,
You've been waiting to do this since day one, haven't you? Yeah. I'm surprised that hasn't happened more often.
one day. So anyway, so he's like, you the guy that killed the boss.
Yeah.
He takes like a step forward. It's meant to be, it looks like an aggressive step forward. But again, with your disgustingly high sense motive, you know that it's not actually an aggressive step forward. This is a Barren Lands thing. It looks to be aggressive to anybody that's in the outside. It's like, it's ruffling the feathers, you know what I mean? Puffing up the chest sort of thing. Takes an aggressive step forward. Looks like he's stepping up to, it's like looking down at you, so on and so forth. But again, with your disgustingly high sense motive, you know that this is actually more of like ritualistic. He's actually stepping up out of respect. He's actually not giving you a challenge. He's looking to show respect to you. And he goes, why'd you kill him?
More. Well, because I wanted to.
That's
he
it.
He was disrupting things for us, hurting people, but I viewed him as a challenge sent from Brogar. A challenge that I overcame.
You know what? Roll me. Almost check on that one.
Intimidate diplomacy.
Oh, he just diplomacy.
He doesn't need intimidate diplomacy.
I'm gonna retire intimidation. So you say that, and you can see there's like actual like nods coming from the heads there, as an idea. And one of them, even though like you clearly have, I think you have a symbol of Roga on you. One of them says, "Where you from?"
I'm from Valorant.
And he like takes another again aggressive like, step forward, and he's like, "Where are you from?"
Am I getting he means like where am I from originally?
Yeah, like where you grow up.
Yeah. I was born in the Barren Lands, probably same as you.
Then he switches to a different language. We of course know what language this is. And he says, what is it? Do you keep to the old ways? It causes a bit of a disturbance amongst the other people inside the area as he chooses to speak in Necril. Necril, of course, having that.
He answers back in Necril and he says, as much as I can. Some things need to be bent slightly. But I haven't forgot who I am.
He'll switch back from Necril, seeing the disturbance of the other people there and trying not to pull too much to them. And he says, bent, what way?
I couldn't hear what you said.
Bent, what way? And I also heard the wife got out of bed. That makes me excited. Maybe she'll make breakfast soon. Shh, don't tell her though.
Oh,
if you
you're
expect
gonna
it.
regret that.
If you, I can't have her hear me. If you expect it, then she won't do it. And she'll be like, no, fuck you. You make right.
It would
But-
be a shame if someone was to clip that.
But she won't see it. Because none of y'all have her cell phone number.
Oh, is Will still here?
I know someone who might.
Who's that, Tesh? Who's that?
Your brother? That was quick. That realization.
Is he gone? Will's gone, right? Is that chat people?
Let's have a look.
I think he's gone.
Damn, he is
He's gone.
gone.
Okay, cool. All right, Chad. Shh. It's our little secret. Just keep it quiet. All right, back to the room.
Show mercy. Oh, that reaction was the best thing.
I'm like, Mathis isn't here.
Yeah, your realization was so good.
But Eric ain't awake.
Please,
There's no
someone
way.
clip that reaction for me because I want that just for posterity.
I got fat fuel. Fat fuel. I get it.
Ew. And continue, Jake.
He would just say, bend enough so that Rogar's followers grow. We don't just kill for the sake of it here.
What you learn. And he switches to Necrol and says, more or less like what clan or what order. It's kind of, again, there's like this one word that means different. So more or less kind of like your upbringing sort of a thing. So this can interpret like if your clan is the important thing to you, you'd respond to that. If you're part of like a certain subsect of faith, that could be part of it. If it's neither of those, but it's actually one of the very few like towns that exist there that isn't clan driven, but actually from like a location, kind of like, you know, more or less, what do you identify as from coming from over there? Now, I understand that your character, of course, identifies as being Valorant, but they don't understand these Western areas. But anyways, I'm sorry.
He would probably say, whatever. He'd probably say whatever clan he was born into, but then he would say, but that was destroyed when I was young. I am of the Order of the Broken Chain now, and I always will.
We not. We're from the Fury. We are from Broga, Fire Within, Burning Fury.
Just nod.
Roll me a knowledge local, referring to your own homelands. You don't know shit about home. You're like, I left that bitch. Sorry.
It's not a religious sect.
Oh, this is like, you can have that meme with one, right? And it has the girlfriend and it's like barren lands, and then it has the girl walking by and it has Valorant. And you have Grishka like, yeah,
Nice.
yeah, sorry. All right, so anyways, you, no, it's not religious sect. So what do you say? Because clearly it doesn't hold a mind.
So what do you call it? The Fury?
Yeah, the Burning Fury.
Probably just pose it as like a open question, like you'd say like the Burning Fury.
You don't know Burning Fury? That makes sense. Orsugo of Burning. Orsugo is chief. Killed chief. Came chief. And left. Most of us came to the weak lands with him. Most of us came to the weak lands with him. Some stayed behind. After Orsugo died, it's been time, but we didn't know what to do. We've been here in the weak lands for time. Thought about going back, joining old tribe, seeing if chief maybe kill and take chief. Not sure if we should go or stay.
Some of Orsugo's band ride with me now.
Who?
We had this issue last time where both of you didn't write down names.
I need to name them because we did name them at some point.
I still don't think you wrote down the names.
There were names.
No, I don't. There were names.
You didn't write them down either.
Yeah. I'll go back and look at them at some point.
We should rename them again.
Yes,
Mork and Gork.
Because the DM can't remember.
Yep. Okay, we're gonna go with that. And we'll hammer it.
So is it Mork and Gork?
Mork and Gork.
100%.
And we're gonna write Jake's harem for where they're from.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right, Mork and Gork. Cool. Get on my notes. Continuing.
Yeah, he says that, and then he'll say, a bunch of other orcs joined us too.
Who? Other? Not Orsugo? Men, Orsugo's men.
I don't know how many of them were Orsugo's men and how many were
Mork and Gork went to the Barrenlands and recruited people and brought back a group, didn't they?
It was something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't think they went all the way back to the Barrenlands, but they
traveled through areas and found some.
Oh,
but
okay,
they know burning fury. They just weak orc follow. You know burning fury. You don't know them, do you?
I don't know the burning fury, no, but I'm not no weak orc.
I don't mean you weak orc. You killed Orsugo. I know. I get it. But you don't know burning fury.
No.
He's actually going to reach behind him, and he pulls out. He did have a shiv with him. You can see that it was clearly taken from like one of the metal bands that was used to like hold together a barrel. I really hope it wasn't a rock barrel, you know. By the way, like you can see the metal was folded over to make a handle, and like the other part was kind of like folded down to make it so it's thicker, and then like was sharpened and whatnot. So he has this like shiv or whatever that he made there, and he takes it, and you can actually see he takes it and he digs it into the palm of his hand, like right about here, and kind of twists it just enough to draw some blood. And he holds his hand out, like so there's like a bit of a downward angle, allowing the blood to drip to the tip of his middle finger, right? It doesn't, you know, to his hand or whatever. And then he holds it there and he says, "We burning fury." And he snaps, and as he does it, it like erupts with a huge burst of fire, as though you were to like more or less grab like an aerosol can and put like a lighter in front of it, like a, you know what I mean? We have blood, Orsugo blood.
And the blood's not strong enough. I can set people on fire too, with nothing but my voice.
Different. You have Vroga in here. We chant Vroga, of course. We say Vroga's name. Vroga no answer. Vroga answers few. But we have Orsugo blood. Old ritual.
Is this a religion check I can make on a ritual?
Actually, this is an Arcana check. You don't have that. You can do religion, but it's a higher DC.
I'll try religion. I mean, what else am I going to do?
Oh.
Wow.
One was always coming.
All right. So, anyways, you don't know what it is. Do you say anything about it? You can always
What
ask
do you mean,
Mog
Asuga's
too, because
blood?
Mog is like steeped
Yeah.
in that culture. Oh,
Yeah. He would just say, "What do you mean, Asuga's blood? What do you pray to Asuga?"
no. What? No, you in Weaklands too long. You forget old ways.
Mm.
Old ritual.
Kind of gives a little nod.
You don't argue it at all. You just like agree.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, when you do that, maybe not everybody around this guy, but you actually get his respect agreeing to that. Like, maybe I have been a little too altering. He says, old ritual. You maybe no remember. When person power gon' die, you take blood. You use blood. He says, you put in yours. Old ritual. Gain power. You use when old shaman die. You use when kill great walking dead. You ever see ritual or no?
Didn't Mog talk something actually about some ritual?
Actually, he did.
I'll say maybe when I was young, but like I said, I was taken too young. But there is one who spoke of such a ritual. Mog.
Wait, you take young? Like not you take it, obviously I'm breaking up.
He nods.
Which order are you from?
Broken chain.
Ah. Makes sense. You know, their rumor. He here.
Who?
Broken chain.
Where?
Here. Not here, but Weaklands.
Who'd you hear this from?
Rumor from around. Seen him. Traveling. Orcs and Heron.
Perrin?
Yeah. He got Perrin boy with him.
He kind of chuckles a little bit. It'd be good to see him. I hope our paths cross. Wonder why he's here. So that's like talking to himself, like in front of the guy.
Mm-hmm. You have Vroga in here. I have Orsugo. Can you teach Vroga? Because Vroga here seem like more than home. If you teach Vroga, maybe bring Vroga home.
He nods and he'll extend a hand.
You'll take yours.
Come with me now. And then come with me back home. I will teach.
Hold on.
You'll be stronger than you are now.
If you teach Vroga in here, always strength. He says, like, looking to the men behind him. And they, of course, agree.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, of course, meta. What's more or less being talked about is in the Barren Lands, there's far less magic than there is in other areas. Even Idir, like the ability that he was able to do that and like a big touch of fire that happened there, that's more than most people, right? Like most people cannot do any form of magic whatsoever. And those that can, aside from like the PCs and those inside their kingdom that they've kind of brought up or whatever, they can't either. So sometimes this world does feel very magical because of the focus is on these very narrow group of people. but of like, you know, the 200,000-300,000 or so that live in all of Idir, that's 'cause, I mean, I would say Idir probably has less than 1 million. I'd say it's a few 100,000. We're talking like 100 of them have the ability to use magic. You know what I mean? 100 of them, and most of them are like either adept level 1, or like, I guess me, or like maybe a PC class level 1. Very few have the power that these few have. Anyways, they'll actually join with you. As for names, like I said, there are 6 of them in chat. So there are names that we need to come up with them. To come up with those names, what I want is in chat over on the Discord, guys can throw up ideas for their names, just like spam the Kingmaker Discord with some orc names for these guys. Specifically, however, I do want to say that 1 second. I do want to say specifically Steve will get to name that guy, because Steve's one that created Orsugo forever ago. Steve's going to be able to create the name for that one guy that's there, and then to give a different responsibility, you know, I'll just kind of like, as people spam names, we'll kind of choose them. Jake and I will choose them, the other 5. Okay, you don't really have to memorize all of them. Only that one guy you really have to remember. The other guys, you can write them down or not, but it's fun to have names just in case you want to reference them.
I'm gonna start writing stuff down.
Yeah, oh god, Jake.
I write a few things down. Okay, it needs to improve. I need to improve on the NPC names.
We rely on rely on Neil's notes a bit too much.
Yeah. All right, so let's keep going. So you guys are actually going to head south from here, and you're going to head into Valor. Again, there are boats in the middle of the sea, like the lake that's down there. You can see the massive boats, and that they've had to expand, because those boats are meant to be a short-term temporary measure. They've had to, like, you know, pull together some wood. Even Myson has ordered some people, not ordered, but had some people chop down trees and send them across the way to for them to kind of go and pull in, to add like rafts onto their boats to expand how much space they have to be on out there. Would you stop by the lake? Would you try to traverse the lake and go and speak to the leaders there? And no, I'm going to the city itself.
Well, I know that like the city is more or less abandoned. I think. And there's specters about, so I wouldn't necessarily. He'd probably survey the area. He wants to try and see if he can try and talk to someone, but growing up where he grew up as well, he's not comfortable on the water.
It's true. Same with these boys that you have with you, so you're going to avoid that and just kind of head straight to the actual city itself.
Yeah.
It's important to note about the city itself is that the wall that was burst down back when the war had taken place and the free folk had turned on them, the wall that had fallen, it's still down. They didn't have any time. They literally had, 3 days of peace, and all of a sudden the undead rose everywhere. And even though there was like a bit of a zombie horde or whatever that was inside the greater region of this place, they're specifically in their city, it wasn't just the zombies. There was, unfortunately, the specters and whatnot had risen as well. Corporeal undead had risen as well. When you arrive at the place itself, your character is not in. But do me a favor and roll me a knowledge religion check. You know that there are many different types of undead. You literally were raised around from the Barren Lands. One of the things that's important to know about specifically in corporeal undead, which is actually what you know about corporeal ones, very rare in the Barren Lands, is that many of them are actually weakened in broad daylight. Many of them are actually either powerless or reduced in power. To some of them, it's legitimately lethal. Like, you could actually kill the undead if they're in daylight. So you're not dumb. You want to investigate the place. You go there, maybe not at the ass crack of dawn, but certainly early in the day, so that you would have time to walk through the areas. You need to be very careful. You can't just like open up a door and be like, oh, I'm walking into this building. You need to be careful to make sure that before you go into any building, you smash open windows, you whip open doors, you stay to the light as much as possible, because they can usually quickly reach into light to attack something or to grab you and pull you elsewhere. So you need to be as bathed in as much light surrounding you as possible. You clearly know this as being your class with that high of a knowledge religion check. I mean, plus wisdom modifier when identifying creatures, like that's you're even higher from that result right there, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a 37, I think.
38.
38, Jesus. So I mean, like that's a really high result. You're gonna know a lot of detail. So when you're walking into the place, one of the things that you notice is that the place when you immediately walk in, this isn't like beforehand, before the battle, where it was like fake abandoned, was people were kind of like either on the boat or hitting inside the buildings, getting ready to attack, so on and so forth. This place is dead silent. Walking through, you can see that there are still many, dead silent from the living at first. But when you go walking through the place, you also know that being noisy, drawing attention to yourself, is very, very, very dumb. So of course you're gonna make your steps in there quiet. Roll your stealth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually gonna have Discord chat because they don't have a modifier.
Oh.
We have Discord chat roll D20 for me real quick. So this is exclamation point D20. See the results of those orcs as they go walking in. I'll take the first 6. This is the reason why I added those dice onto. Oh wait. Oh, never mind. You can't because the chat bot is broken. Oh, sorry guys. Sorry.
Chat.
I have to
Oh,
fix.
no, you
I
can't
have
do
to
it
fix
in
the chat
stream.
bot because of the stupid thing. It just once a month it does a stupid thing. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I have to fix that. Do you use chatbot?
I use Nightbot, and even Nightbot fucks up constantly.
Yeah, sorry guys. I'll have to fix it. I'll have to fix it later on. I went upstairs and got coffee earlier instead. So you can see that pretty much everybody borks this roll. It's absolutely garbage results from your Jake's 12 all the way down, and then with 117. You guys walking in there aren't very quiet. You know what I mean? Probably because as you're walking in, you're thinking about incorporeal undead and there as well. There's the rumor, so on and so forth. But this is Idir. And Idir did not just get swarmed by incorporeal undead. There's a lot of zombies. And there was literally a battle right outside these front gates when the undead rose. So there are many, many, many zombies in this place. As you go walking in, it's dead quiet, completely silent. You're walking through, making your way down the first street. Then you turn a corner. You see it. There's a zombie. There's another one past it. You don't think anything of it. You're gonna be careful. Just don't get your back covered. You're walking down another alleyway. You see a few more. That's okay. You personally can handle it. You're not too worried about it. Also, they don't seem to notice you. That must mean that there's not the faster ones, the keen ones, the ones that can also spread the plague of being a zombie. So you continue moving. And then all of a sudden it's one of those things where as you go walking down yet another path, one of the orcs reach down and says, "Oh, good axe." And sorry, good sword. And reaches up and picks up a bastard sword. He's like, "Ha!" Like swings the thing. And as he swings it, like tings off against a rock on the ground because it was like a bit of like because the battle that happened beforehand, there's like a fallen bit of rock that sits right there. So instead of like swooping cleanly over the ground, smacks into the rock, and everyone's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Oh, everybody kind of jumps to get attention, and then you kind of start to hear at first just a very low, very quiet kind of noise happening in the background there. And then it starts to pick up as you start to hear things like,
I was not expecting that.
As soon as I start hearing noises, I'm going to cast heroism on myself.
yeah, and it just continues. It continues going. It's like they are starting to come for you. What you say?
I said as soon as I started hearing the noises, I would cast heroism on myself, and then I would order the orcs to start backing out. Like, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to get caught in the middle of the city. So I'm going to start retracing our steps, going back. We failed today. We might not tomorrow.
Okay. You guys are going to be able to retreat relatively easily. I mean, you did screw up pretty hard. So that's why I have you kind of with your backs, like there are. Percy. Pet the puppy for a second. Percy.
Oh.
I really need to make Twitch partner just so I can have a Percy emote. just for this one stream, just like a Percy, like a Kingmaker Percy emote, right? It'd be like an emote that's literally Percy. Oh, no, better. I thought of a really good emote idea. Maybe we just have to use it over on Discord. It's Percy plus what's Neil's cat's name plus Jake's cat, but each representing like one, right? Right. So it's almost like right. It's like the three different faces.
You didn't
but
realize.
Like, what?
He said Percy plus Neil's cat plus Jake's cat.
Well, I don't know their names. They're cats. I fucking
No.
hate cats. Oh, Jake's cat. Oh, god damn it. Tesh's cat. What is your cat's name, Tesh?
Rocket.
Rocket. So Percy, Red Rocket, and whatever Neil's cat's name is.
Just Rocket, not Red Rocket.
Okay, so Percy, Red Rocket, Artemis.
Stop.
And we can have it represented the different characters. So you can have like Percy with like maybe some like I forget what color skin Jake's character is, but like almost like change that color with like an axe in front of it. I don't know. It'd be a fun emote.
Oh yeah.
Right,
It would be if you could get it done.
Right, like an Animorph version of it. I think I'll have to have pictures of each of your animals, and I'll have to hit up Rena. Rena girl, hey. But I have to talk to her about other stuff because we haven't talked. Rena and I haven't had a side conversation in like a month and change, and we really need to because we had a project we were working on that kind of needs to finish. But anyways, and that's my fault. She's reached out to me. I'm the bad one. Anyways, so moving on, you hear these noises. You need a fallback strategy, and not the spell that Neil casts all the time because he cheats. You, sir, what is your plan for falling back? Just hack your way out, or like full on back up before you start fighting as to not slow down?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of have them form like a circle as much as they can. Maybe like 3 at the front, 3 at the back. He'd stand in the middle and just kind of direct, and we just start falling back. If they engage us, then we will fight, but we'll fight moving back.
I'm gonna need from you, even though this isn't a full-on war, though we can do that. Technically, you meet all the requirements for it. I'm gonna need from you, because this is like a strategy you're planning here, a profession soldier check. If you don't have that, then it's literally just a wisdom check. Lord Percy.
Hey.
What happens is as you start falling back in that direction, they're not used to these kinds of formations. And certainly one of them is actually gonna be like, hey, why you no fight? Like referring to the fact that you're in the middle and trying to direct them. Again, they're kind of new, they're not used to this sort of a thing. The strategy doesn't work out so well. They very quickly kind of devolve into just like jumping forward and attacking things in their way, but not even necessarily trying to retreat well. They're even just like running off to the side and attacking one that happens to be nearby, but requires like, it's like, what is it? I take 3 steps forward, but 2 steps back, or however that fucking song goes, you know what I mean? As they're not doing the full-on retreat. So you're seeing this happen, it's not working out so well. How do you react to that?
Try and get their attention, and I'd say, first lesson, use this. Use your brain, not your head. And then he wouldn't leave them, so he would probably then start, moving and attacking as well as he'd grab one by the shoulder and like kind of pull him back while attacking himself.
Sure. So it doesn't sound like you're being like intimidating at all. It sounds like you're still trying to lead them, and that's perfectly fine. This is going to be a leadership role for you, which you don't have the leadership skill or feat or anything like that. So I'm actually going to have you roll a flat charisma check as you're trying to lead them that way.
There's a possibility this could actually be a 0. My first 0 roll.
Oh, that was that was like, I'm gonna go real low for you and then tick over high.
Okay, beautiful.
Dice is a tease today.
It is. It really is. So, you end up doing a full-blown, trying to grab them and start pulling them back. Things don't go super easily. Somebody did use Penance of the Arbiter for you, which does give you guys a bonus and a penalty to this. So actually, that 17 is actually an 18, just so you know. And your Wisdom of 8 was actually 9 before, just so you know, because that was used a few minutes ago coming into this place. But what I want you to roll one more thing as this goes out, Jake, is just kind of like this is for how well the whole thing goes. I'm actually gonna have you roll me a percentage die. But I'm actually going to give you a huge boon based off of your result right there. I'm actually going to allow you to roll a percentage die with a plus 18 that you roll. Percentage is
so I'm rolling. What am I rolling?
D100 plus 18. Because it's kind of playing out to chance for how well they listen to you, so on and so forth. Have you rolled poorly, I wouldn't have given you a modifier, potentially even given you a penalty. So you actually roll a 31 total, which means that while going in there was certainly something that you really wanted to do, to go check the place out, unfortunately, you guys went in a little bit too deep. There's a lot more zombies than you expected, and while you didn't encounter any of the incorporeal undead, falling back was difficult to say the least. At one point in time, you can imagine like that leader guy does stab himself with a hand again to get the blood going into it, and throws out a little bit of I just realized it's very what's his name from FMA, but throws out like a burst of fire to try to hold some of the zombies back. It does throw out a burst of fire to try to hold some of the zombies back. It does not do so well enough. There are injuries sustained amongst your crew, and certainly one of them actually legit, one of the ones that kind of goes off to the side, you grab his shoulder and pull him back. But at the same time, another one went another direction, did the same thing. You couldn't get him inside. Others grabbed him, other zombies grabbed him and pulled him under. He was actually attacked and consumed. Your 6 NPCs goes down to 5. But either way, it is, they do retreat with you with just some injuries, and you're able to pull their way out. Nobody blames anybody for this, of course. It's just, there is now dozens at a time zombies starting to come out the gates, and you can see behind that more starting to come as they're like interested in the food that's here. Do you choose to stay, hold the ground by any stretch of the imagination, or full on fall back?
How many, do I notice any fast ones approaching?
Perception check. So looking through the group inside there, one of the things that you do notice is that there aren't any fast ones. They all seem to be the slow one.
Okay, is there any way I can bottleneck it?
I'm sorry? No,
So
there's no wall.
Well, I'm not stupid. I would withdraw.
Full on fall back. Which direction?
Away from Myson's camp.
So, are you on the map page? I can bring all of chat over to the map page, but it's going to be ugly at first, so I do apologize, because obviously I had sorry, because obviously I had to make sure that I wasn't going to accidentally start sounding like a demon this whole time. Would have been bad. So,
Also, on the map page, real quick, aren't the druids over here now?
oh yeah, I can move them. I can move them.
Yeah.
This is just gonna be ugly because I didn't set it up because of I didn't have Neil, and I was like, I don't know how many I want to set up because of this. So give me 1 second. Switch over to Kingmaker. Turn off Regicide. Turn off Thronekeeper. And we just have to fix it. I just have to fix this real quick. That's just, of course, what happens when there's I'm missing a PC. Everything gets borked. So they can barely see that die because there you go. So anyways, so you do the fallback. Let me also bring the attention to where it needs to be. So which direction did you want to go, sir? From Vigil.
Looking at the map, give me a number. How many are pursuing us?
You have no idea. Honestly, your character's not that smart. I'm sure you can't count that high that fast. I'm sure you can count high, but not that fast.
So there's a lot.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
All right, so I can't fight them. To the left, towards Forvin. I know the army is there. However, I can. I would retreat that way. Yeah.
Right. So you start trying to retreat towards Forvin.
Mhm.
Are you going to just retreat that direction? Or are you going to try to lead as many as you can that direction?
I would try and lead as many as I could. I mean, I can get into a small kind of group, like fight a small group of them at a time. But I can't take on countless.
So, with the idea that you're trying to lead them that direction, which is very different from just like full on retreating, this is actually going to require, again, some more tactics from you, right? So, again, this is technically for the sake of guiding them, leading this way. This is going to be a profession soldier check. I don't think you have uh, any skill or any of your old techniques of leading an army to do that kind of stuff. Any of those kind of like tricks. So why don't you go ahead and just roll that for me? Because what were your abilities? One, you had hold the line. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that was just it.
So you're gonna roll me a d20 plus your. It's just a wisdom check for you, flat wisdom check. And don't forget you get the +1 from what's his name? Bucklow. And that 20, that 18 down to that 5. Oh jeez. The 10. Do you want to modify that?
Being so cruel today.
I suppose I'll try and get as many of them to follow me as possible.
Huh. Man, they really, really don't like it.
Yeah. No.
All right.
One of those days.
So anyways, yeah, you are trying to lead them, and you are actually able to lead some down there. You're actually successfully leading a group of them, a whole bunch of the horde, out of vigil. And they start following you to the east. And then a good number of them branch off and head north.
And head where?
North. North of the lake. To where Myson's camp is.
All right.
You know that if you abandon your task of continuing trying to head them, lead them east, you abandon that task. Problem is, others might just follow you.
Yeah. I would instruct the orcs that I'm with to fall back towards Forvin. I instruct them where it was. Tell them to do as we've been doing. And I'm going to tell the leader guy there just to as they get close, he's to break off and like let Leon know what's going on, and Ilan, tell him that I've commanded him to be there, and I will go, like, while they're doing that, I'll go back to Myson.
So just as a reminder, so you can see like the distance here. This is no small distance, right? You can see that from Vigil to Forvin is like 27 miles. It's going to take you time to all the way in that direction, because most of the people are just out of that city too. Do you want to have them fight the army? So if that being said, if they're heading 27 miles, at some point in time, they're gonna break off and up to where the other place is. You're gonna be very late to the Myson area, which is fine, because you're like, we gotta get rid of the bulk of them. We'll deal with that afterwards.
Well, so I can break off more or less as I see them not following, right? And I can tell them
as early as so you want them to continue leading, and you break off early.
And I have expeditious retreat as well.
Yep. That's short-lived for a long distance, but yes.
Yeah.
Completely understand. Okay, so you're telling them to continue that tactic.
Yeah. First lesson.
Do you give them anything to prove that they are from you? Or is Leon going to be like,
I would give them my holy symbol.
Okay.
Oh, damn! Yeah, that'll work.
This is a good one. I gave away my wooden one, and I have like a gold one now. So
the group of those orcs, the leader amongst them eats the holy symbol. So now he has Broca and Idir, and then he.
nice.
All right, so
Well done.
yeah, it's made out of wood,
Man.
right? He burns it.
Orcs.
So you're gonna head off towards Myson's camp. Can you get ahead of the zombies? Sure. What's your plan?
I'm going to get ahead of them, get to the camp, warn them what's going on, try and get as quick as the refugees can, either, if there's any that can fight, to join me, otherwise the others are just to retreat towards Kurzfall. And obviously I'd tell Myson what's going on.
Okay.
Because I doubt he would leave. So it looks like we're staying and fighting, whoever will stay and fight.
Don't get bored, we have a horde.
It's like in like the silly RPGs where you have like that dance spell on the undead. Just cast that and starts DJing and makes the undead dance. That's how he controls them.
Oh, jeez. You do very good old fashioned like.
Thriller, thriller, something through the night. You got the thriller, thriller, thriller.
Well done.
Oh, sorry. Oh God. So anyways, you would go and inform Myson of what happened. You need to call people to aid you, to pull you to help you with this fight. For something like this, trying to get them like, what would you say to them? And I'm gonna need a check after that.
A horde is coming. This is him talking to the people.
The horde is coming.
A horde is coming. You've done your best to this point to flee them, but they're nearly upon you. I need everyone who can fight to fight. If you do not fight, there is a good chance you will die. All those who cannot fight need to retreat towards... what's closer? Towards Kurzfall.
More refugees.
Okay. So
if you're Ali Ilan, you'll be happy about that.
so you start to retreat. Do me a favor, roll me a diplomacy to convince people to actually stay and fight with you. Everybody else is like, "Ah!" and run away. You know what I mean? Okay, so a good number of people are actually gonna jump to fight with you. You know what I mean? Honestly, the fact that you walked out of here with a bunch of orcs that aren't with you, but you rolled well enough. You know what I mean? You're able to convince people to actually stay and fight with you. The problem is now looking over the number of orcs that are this way. Undead that are this way, that are coming at you. It is not a small number. Like, it is over 100, easily over 100 that are coming up in this direction. So, Jake, I have to ask you, what's your tactic with fighting over 100 zombies with a couple of people that are looking to fight?
I don't know. I'm not military minded. This is because if this is army combat, there's nothing I can really do to help. I mean, tactic wise, I try and find a dense part of forest or ask Myson about the land somewhere that I can try and bottleneck. And that's my only hope, really.
This is important too, because this is like one of the biggest hubs of undead. So this is one of the biggest remaining hubs of undead. Finishing this up is actually good. Let me just read something. Myson is able to give you a degree of assistance with this. Okay, now he's actually able to give you a bit of assistance with this to a degree. He's going to be able to say, first and foremost, speaking as Myson, the spores and whatnot, says there is an area where you can have them fired down. You can cause them to get snared the way they move amongst the brush that's there. But be careful. You can also be ensnared in it yourself. it perhaps is a good spot and lure them to. I wish that I could stay, fight with you, but if I do not act now, I will my farm. Without my farm, I will not be able to continue to assist the others. I'm going to spend the last moments I have trying to uproot my farm and bring it with me.
Okay. Is there any tips you can give me about where it may be better to tread so I'm not ensnared?
Yes. And he kind of gives you a bit of direction or whatever, so that when you're planning your tactics, you'll have a bonus. He also says, I would like to give you this as well. And he actually will kind of like walk over to the side, and he reaches into like his mushroom patch that he has there, and he breaks off a very, very specialized mushroom that he has inside there. It's called a mushroom. Mycin can craft one mushroom a month that acts in all ways like an alchemist's mutagen, except that it can work on any player character. The standard action it says drink a mutagen. Yeah, so more or less to eat the mushroom. It's standard action. When eating a mutashroom, select one physical characteristic, either strength, dex, or constitution. Once you eat the mutashroom, makes you a bulky version, gives you a plus to your natural armor bonus, plus to the selected stat. We get a -2 to one of your mental scores based off of what stat you choose to enhance temporarily. So -2 intelligence if you choose strength, so on and so forth. But he gives you the mutashroom to help enhance you in some way while you're doing this, and says use this if needed to survive. And we'll give that use a mutashroom. He's also then going to use his advisor ability that he has called moving the farm. He may move the farm one time, literally one time ever, without crop issues or penalties. So he's literally going to use this ability that he's earned many months ago. He's going to pick up his entire farm, and he's going to move it away from where it's been this whole time, just north of the lake near Visual.
How the fuck?
He is able to speak to the plants. He's able to speak to the mushrooms. The mushrooms are actually a part of his colony. The mushrooms are a part of his colony. Part of moving the thing. When he speaks to the shroom patch, you will literally see many of those little mushrooms literally get up. Like the mycin underneath them, or whatever it's called, like the mycin that exists as a branch underneath them, literally come up and they move almost like spiders, lifting themselves up from the ground. So this patch of mushroom, you'll see like a mushroom patch, has this mycin that kind of like moves underneath them as they go. So you can literally see his mushroom patch is able to lift up. Yes?
If he's going north, I just like the idea that the druids are just chilling and then they just look over and just giant,
Fantasia style? Yep.
Yeah.
But the mycelium, thank you. The mycelium.
Yeah.
The mycelium literally acts almost like spider's legs as it brings it along. But the shroom patches also bring with it big clumps of dirt that bring with it other plants and crops and whatnot as well. Does he bring everything 100%? No, but certainly brings much of it. He's also planned for this sort of a thing for a long time in advance, since the undead became a problem, since Cursefall became a problem. He had planned for this a long time in advance in case he had to move beforehand. And so he gets everything up and starts getting it to move north with very little help from other people. He's able to grab up all of his crops and everything and start moving north to get away from these creatures, clearing the area for you. We'll worry about where Mycin's little farm goes to later on. But for now, it starts moving in that direction. You're going to have to choose a battlefield. You're going to have to fight. The good news and the bad news. The good news is undead do not, and I repeat, do not have ranged weapons. The bad news is neither do you, bitch. The good news is you are able to amass people to help join together as your little army. The bad news is it's not that big. Let's be honest. No matter what you tell everybody else, it's not that big. I'm not going to actually pull up an army map because it's not necessary to do so. Looking at the mass combat rules for how many undead there really is, like I said, it's easily over 100. Zambi.
Oh.
Oh, going to the top here. Started from the bottom, now I'm here. Started from the bottom, now I'm at the top. There we go. A medium army is 100. A large army is 200. So as you choose your plan, as you choose where you want your battle to be, the good news is you're going to choose a setting that gives you advantages to battle. The bad news is it does allow more zombies to gather together in the fort. So you are going to be fighting against a large army, right, Jake? So why don't you do me a favor, and for choosing the area of your tactics, for choosing that area out, first you're going to roll me a survival check. Mycin is giving you a +4 to this survival check. Can't wait. I can finally get this other monitor off the desk tomorrow when that attachment shows up. It's a really good roll. That doesn't incorporate the +4? Cool. So you're going to get a really big modifier to the next roll that you make in a moment. So just to be clear about your army size, you were able to get a bunch of people to come and assist you. However, you are not a very, very tough group of people. When I say a bunch of people, it's literally a couple dozen. You know, it's that area somewhere between like a tiny army and a small army. So you have like more than 25, but not quite 50. However, your character is going to be playing a huge role in this combat with like the spells that you're going to use and so on and so forth. So even though you only have like 30 some odd people, I'm going to use the mechanics as though you were a small army, which is 50 people, because you can imagine your character very much makes up for most of that difference there, because you can do mass attacks and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, going to those combat rules, like we haven't done in a long time. Sorry. 1 second. Basic. Oh, and when I say army, I actually mean militia, because, you know, there's not a lot of you.
Pitchforks and torches.
So small is going to be less than that. Jake, your army's HP is not going to be very high. Sorry, I'm gonna find the word small. You just don't want to be here. That's cool. Give me 1 more second. Get this finished being put together. Resources, 1 second. All right. So back to the top. All right. So your army, as the two groups are kind of pulling together, your army is going to have an HP equal to the average for the average person inside your army. Again, we're just going to call that because the average person in your army is supposed to not be that high. But we're going to give you, because again, you make up for a good portion of it. We're going to say it's a 5.5 is where it's supposed to be, which is the average. But it's also supposed to be multiplied by the ACR. Your ACR is just going to be a flat. We're just going to have it 5 HP for your army. That's just the easiest thing to do. Okay. So it's an important thing to remember. I don't know if you want to write that down somewhere real quick so you don't forget. But your HP is going to be 5. So your HP is going to be 5, which is a good amount. Usually a large has a 5. Your ACR is technically less than technically 1/2. So your DV, your defensive value, your base to that is supposed to be a 9, and your offensive modifier is supposed to be a 0. That's without any modifiers. Those are your bases. Okay. Now, how is this going to be modified? The area that you're choosing to have for your tactics, because you rolled so well, especially with Mycin's aid, you're actually going to have a defensive value increased by 2, bringing your DV up to an 11, which is really good news. Your offensive modifier is not affected by that. Jake, did your character give any bonuses to this beforehand? Do you remember if your character gave you bonuses to this sort of a thing? You have hold the line, which is certainly important. But
I think that's all I've got. I don't have any other things.
Because you never intended to focus further into this any further. Any further.
I just realized I never picked my mass combat perk.
And then the last thing I'm going to look over for you really quickly, Jake, and then we're going to get to some rolling here. They see roll and they hate in. What class are you? Visitor?
Inquisitor.
So you have judgment. On each once each ranged or melee phase, the army may choose to increase this damage by 1. Increases damage by 1, its DV by 1, or heal number of health points equal to half its ACR, which you don't have any. So you can actually increase your damage by 1 or your DV by 1 using your judgment ability. Because your judgment is almost always defensive, I imagine you could actually increase. How many times can you use your judgment a day?
Okay. 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah. I can actually, not that it would affect this, but I can use 2 judgments simultaneously as well.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I can use 2 judgments at the same time.
Oh, that does. I mean, technically, does that use up multiple uses or no?
No.
So I can see you doing both, increasing the defensive value, and increasing your damage by 1, which means you have to hurt them to get damage, right? By 1 for 3 different combat rounds. I can see this happening, right? And that's because you can do it 3 times. So that's pretty cool, actually. All right, awesome. Any other key abilities of yours that you want to point out or no?
I mean, I have Bane, but it's like, that's me personally.
Yep, that doesn't do anything. Okay, cool.
All my stuff is personal, and I can't set them on fire, I think, because they're mindless. So.
Cool. All right, so you're going against this zombie horde. Your DV, which was brought to an 11, is now, because for each round that you choose to, is going to be brought to a 12. So remember that it can be a 12. For choosing battle tactics, this is kind of funny to say because it's against mindless undead. For choosing your battle tactics, I'm gonna have you roll your, once again, it's your wisdom modifier for your character's profession, soldier, to see who gets to act first.
So wisdom.
Yep. I roll a flat roll. You know what I mean? Because they don't have tactics. So I just roll flat. There's more your ability to read them. That's an 8 you rolled there. Would you like to luck yours to see if you can get the that to go up a little bit more?
No. I'd have to get a...
Oh, you also got 8 of the martyr. So, oh no, 8 of the martyr doesn't help you here. Okay. So, so you don't want to luck that because you have a 25% chance of winning.
No, I'll save the luck for the other rolls.
Okay. All right, then, Jake, they are going to be able to see that you are doing your tactics. Again, they're mindless, so for whatever value that is, what tactic are you going to use? Do you remember what the options are?
I do not.
Okay.
I think one is raise your OM. The other
In tactical phase, you choose one of 5 options. Hold firm, cautious advance, standard, aggressive attack, all-out attack. It affects your DV and your OM.
Okay. What's the most balanced one?
Standard. Affects nothing.
Standard. Affects nothing. And if you want to aggressive attack it, how much is it? Not the highest one, sorry, one up from that.
Aggressive attack, -2 to your DV, +2 to your OM.
I think we need the DV.
You can do cautious advance, or because of the shrubberies that you're in, you can hold firm.
I think we should hold firm for now.
It's a +4 to your DV, so remember, it's baseline 11, but right now, I don't know if you put in brackets, however you're keeping track of it, that brings it up to a 15. And if you choose to activate your ability, that's going to bring it to a 16 temporarily. Okay?
Yeah.
With your OM, what was your OM a moment ago? 0?
It's 0.
So that brings it to a -4. If you choose to activate your ability, it brings it to a -3. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. The two of you actually attack simultaneously. It's important to note that because you are, so these are zombies, they actually don't have aggressive attack, they don't have all-out attack, they don't have full firm, they don't have cautious advance. They have standard. That's all they can do. They just roll basic rolls because nothing's direct. So they're going to standard, move forward, and it is actually going to be, now, typically speaking, when two armies fight, they both are supposed to happen at the same exact time. However, because zombies are so slow moving, they're always staggered, right? Specifically zombie hordes. The way that army combat with them works, as opposed to all attacks happening simultaneously, technically speaking, you resolve your attack and then I resolve mine the way it would happen in a standard combat. And that's just because if it was just skeletons, this wouldn't apply. It's just because it's zombies. You move so much quicker than them. So as they push forward to attack you, you actually get to roll first your OM, which I believe you're activating your ability, making it a -3 modifier. Roll for me a D20 -3, sir.
What is that? Should work. It's not rolling. I might have to refresh roll 20.
That's okay. Do you want Tesh?
Should I wait or should I just?
You can refresh, but Tesh, can you roll 1d20 -3 for him?
It should have come through, right?
Not coming through.
Oh my god, I rolled the fucking 19.
We're not seeing your 19. Whoa.
Right.
Oh, it's Tesh.
Okay, I rolled a 17, so it's not too much worse.
So what are you
I'm gonna
happy?
refresh.
Whoa.
Oh, now it came through.
Oh, it came
did
through.
come through.
Well, take your roll because this one
Okay.
came through. Yeah, it's a
okay.
19.
All right, good.
Are you happy with your 16?
Remind me, the more, the higher you get, is that the more damage you do?
Correct. So let's say their DV is a 13. That means you did 3 damage, but you also increased your damage. Oh, your OM. Oh, sorry, your OM is technically wrong there, but that's fine because of the way it worked out. Either way. So let's say their DV is 13. You just did 3 points of damage to them.
Well then I will try and increase the damage that I do.
Cool, because your hold
Roll.
firm actually negatively impacts your damage as well.
Oh, does that? Great.
Yeah, but it also negatively impacts their damage against you, which is why it's good.
Yeah. All right. Let's go.
Okay. So that counts as a, and again, just because it's fine. So the grand total of damage, so their DV is actually a 14. I can tell you that now. And as they're like moving through this area to attack you, their DV of 14 is actually going to maintain as they're moving in. Their OM is going to be affected as they're trying to come up to attack you. 14 against an 18 total. That's 4 points -2 because you're holding firm. You did 2 points of damage against them. So we're going to do, that's how much total you've done to their army. You actually were able to hurt them a good bit. Now they're going to attack against you, against your army. Your DV is currently what, a 16?
It is a 16, I think. Let me go back to it.
Okay.
Um,
They are not able to harm your army. The crew of people you have with you are utilizing the shrubberies around them, are utilizing the area that's slowing them down so much and so well that the army is incapable of kind of doing too much to your 25 people your 37 odd people you have fighting. You're able to set bushes on fire over there, and you have them entangled up in other ones over here. Attack from behind. Like I said, there's no ranged weapons, but imagine some individuals do. Attacking others from behind while the ones in front are, that are trying to make their way around, but the ones in front are all tangled up. People in front grabbing literally sharpened bits of wood to use as pikes beyond the weapons they have at their side to like stab at them and trying to kill the undead as much as possible. They're fighting hard for hours and being effective. It goes back to you, sir. You're going to roll. I assume you're continuing to hold firm, or do you want to change that?
No, we'll hold firm again. I mean, I want to go up, but these people can't take an attack. It's a problem. But I can't really do damage to them unless I rolled really high. So the cautious attack is minus.
Cautious advance, it switches 2 and 2. So your
my
DV goes
16
down by
would come
2,
out
but your OM also
14.
goes up by 2.
Um,
Which, by the way, is supposed to be now a -2 instead of a -3 because damage, not. Anyways, that's bad.
okay. I think we'll change it to
Cautious advance. Cool. So you're going to roll me a 1d20 minus 2 is what you're rolling now. Hold on one second. Let me just check everything that's over here. Oh, you know what? I didn't flip on the mass combat rules. Can you just give me 1 second, Jake? I know it's a little bit of a waste of time. I do apologize. Mentions. Why do you always go away? Boards. This is actually going to turn on the mass combat rules, which is fight formation, take the advantage. Rogue is Wrath. Chains of Aravel is for the bad guys, I think. Yeah. And Skilled Commander. Oh, you actually aren't allowed to use luck dice. As Blessings of War to allow you to use luck dice. So you don't get a luck die on this next one unless somebody uses Blessings of War. Sorry about that. So I adjusted that there, and then last thing I want to do really quickly, because people did do redemptions. I'm giving back the 8 of the Martyr you just got, because you literally cannot use 8 of the Martyr in this kind of a mechanic. So whoever did the 8 of the Martyr a little bit ago, I'm giving that back to them refund. Okay. All right. Cool. Now they're able to utilize those abilities, and it's back to you, sir.
That's on the roll. Nope.
Unfortunately, your characters just are not able to do any attacking against the zombies that have any effect. These next couple of hours just aren't effective. Their result against you, and again, I rolled with a flat d20 because of what was going on. I'm actually, after this round, I'm going to start getting back my modifier because there's so much into the brush that it's not going to be infecting them as much anymore. You'll still have your defensive value. They don't hurt you this time either. Next time I'll have a slight modifier added to my attack roll. It is back to you, sir, as the next hours roll on for you to continue your attack. Do you want to push forward again? Do you want to stay with cautious, or do you want to switch to standard?
We'll have to stay with cautious.
Okay. Then roll again with your -2. It's an 11 total. Unfortunately, like you said, you have to roll high. Attacking, it's a whole horde of people. You don't have many on your side. So you imagine a couple of kills here and there. Your people are starting to get tired, but they're still fighting and taking little breaks, retreating a little bit more into the brush, and then sleeping up as much as they can. And as they break through, they're breaking through the brush. You still have your defensive value from it for now, but they no longer have the penalty of the offensive modifier. I'm now rolling with my +2 that I'm supposed to have. You're getting tight formation, which means that you're going to be able to get a +1 DV for this next roll.
Oh.
I rolled 20. What is your DV right now?
Oh.
14.
So with tight formation, that makes it a 15.
Yep.
So I did 5 points of damage against your 15.
Yep, and the HP is only 5.
And it's only 5. Sir, you need to make a morale check.
What's the morale check?
It's 1d20. Your modifier for morale, your level is what, 5? So you get a +1 for that. Plus your charisma modifier is a -1. 1 second.
Hey, Angel, you left her soon.
No profession soldier. Your leadership is, so you actually have a total morale of a 0.
So just a flat roll. Alright. Don't mind if they retreat. So.
Okay. So even though your army is brought, it takes this ridiculous amount of damage. They do not disband. They're at 0 health. They do not disband. You just must. Well, you can choose. You must full retreat or you must disband them. It's your choice. But your casualties are too high. You have too many injured.
Yeah.
You have a couple dead, so on and so forth. You have a few dead, so on and so forth.
So what's the difference between like disband and full retreat?
Disband, everybody goes in their own direction, runs off in different areas, so on and so forth, but the battle is completely over. Full retreat, they can continue to pursue you, and if they do one more attack against you, your army is decimated. But you can try to retreat, you try to backtrack.
Going in random directions, a lot of them are gonna die. I think you're only chance to try, like, because they're tangled in the stuff at the moment, right?
Not anymore.
Yeah, not really anymore.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I don't know quite how mass combat works. You said they were staggered constantly. If you full retreat and always retreat, would that mean you'd be able to just get away from them?
In theory, like if you're fighting regular zombies, in theory, yeah, but again, this is mass combat, so if you just applied that, it'd make the army not really scary. Yeah, you just have to make a couple of checks to get away, and then you'd be able to maintain the distance. Go ahead, sir.
I mean, at this stage, he'd just be like, he'd probably try and yell as loud as he can. You've done your job. The others are safe. Retreat.
Where do you want them to retreat to?
I mean, back towards Kurzfall, but I mean, I don't care if they run, to be honest. If they want to disband and run in all directions, I'm not going to stop them.
1 second. 2 seconds. Set at west.
Because I can create an illusion to draw some, but I mean, that's it.
Why don't you roll for me really quickly a wisdom check? Roll garbage, he always does. Yep.
We do know that the illusion does work because it worked on the ones in Horde Gwen. Some of them. His illusion.
That's all I can do as far as personally.
Do you want to modify your wisdom check?
Yeah, all right.
Oh, nice. And yes, we have 2 more dice.
Cool. So with your wisdom check, you know that if you can survive long enough to fall back towards the druids, you'd be more or less introducing yourselves to the druids. Throwing something on their lap. However, they are also powerful spellcasters that are good at fire in the fire magic moat.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. They're in the fire.
You might
zone.
be able to utilize them.
Good introduction. Hey, we need help. There's refugees. Come help.
I mean, I'll order the retreat, I guess, towards that direction.
You'll what?
Order the retreat towards that direction, I guess.
Okay. So what I need as you try to retreat is I'm going to attack you again. Assuming I miss, you have to make a morale check, and then we can end the combat. Okay. So you got so you got a type formation sent to you again. So it's another +1 DV. So you got 1 type formation. So it's +1 DV. That puts you at what, a 15?
Yeah.
Okay. You were retreating, so you don't have to worry about your cautious, whatever. That's fine. That still applies. All that stuff applies. Is this the 3rd round of combat or the 4th? It's my 4th attack against you, right?
The 4th. Yeah.
Which means your DV no longer is modified by your because you can only use that 3 times, and that ends. So that means your DV goes back down to a 14.
Yeah.
So I'm attacking against the 14. Cool. Last roll. 1d20 plus 2. Anybody affecting 3, 2, 1, and that's a no. Cool.
Oh my God, Scott.
They're all dead.
So you are falling back towards the what are they called?
Druids.
Druids, thank you. You're falling back towards the druid, trying to get to them as quickly as you can, try to bring the people with you. Unfortunately, the fallback is not an easy trek to do. You've been fighting for countless hours. They're tired, calling to them, fall back, trying to lead the way. You don't just leave people behind. You're not like full on running by yourself. You go over, you try to help people, try to cut them down. But unfortunately, try to save them from big groups. But there's just like every one you cut down, 3 more pops up. There's just too many of them. Eventually, it's like when you finally come running into the druid area, you obviously are going to be able to survive as being the hero of this. Your characters die. Just the army is lost. The whole group of refugees is lost. A loyal check will have to be made in a moment because of course, how things play out here. But you can imagine as you come running into the druid area, or I should say stumbling into the druid area, you've got literally one person like thrown over your shoulder and another one you're kind of dragging with you as the only 2 survivors of this beyond yourself, everybody else having been killed. We're going to have the druid situation handled in a moment. Could you do me a favor and just roll me that loyalty check? It's a plus 21, I believe. Luckily for you, when word spreads after this moment of what happens, the word spreads of one of the rulers of Kurzfall, one of the rulers of Valorant, being down there on the front lines, always putting his life in harm's way, always putting his life in danger, trying to save others, and literally collapses down in front of the other druid, carrying the only people he possibly could, putting every bit of his effort into being the hero here. He loses his axe along the way, but
Motherfucker.
It's not even a magic axe. Come on, please.
But the stories are told of your heroism, even if you did have failure, along the way. So when you fall to the druids and kind of like word is told, when they understand what is happening, you can imagine the druids who step forward like powerful firebenders, like step forward. They're able to utilize the moat of where they are to greatly enhance the power of fire they have. You have the callers literally pulling up from the other worlds, a group of fire elementals to step forward. We've seen what Nathan did in the past. Speaking of, Nathan is with them. Nathan also calls to his own fire elemental, who steps forward large and powerful, ripping through the armies to the best of its ability. You see the other druids calling with their power, literally produce flame, huge amounts throwing in, scouts coming in and attacking from behind. The short version is the druids are going to be able to decimate this army pretty quickly, but not without their own costs. We can worry about what those costs are after, okay? But not without their own costs. Over in Forvin, when you get there, Tesh, when Ilin arrives in Forvin, what you see is how I've described it both in this campaign and others that have passed through here. A decimated town. It is destroyed. Any building that somebody tried to hold up in, the zombies have ripped through, broken down windows and doors, smashed against walls, so on and so forth. Not just on the first floor. If there was a second floor of the building and they tried to hide upstairs, it went upstairs as well. Ever seen or played Zomboid or any other game where you tried to survive long term, not like hours, like a Call of Duty sort of situation, but long term against hordes of zombies? Everything gets broken. Everything gets destroyed while you're just trying to survive and get food. On the lake itself, there are screams that happen in the evening as something is attacking them. The short version is you have the general with you. The general needs to clean out this area. The area is filled with many zombies, and not just the slow ones. The fast ones are here. The fast ones are different than the others because where they go, who they're interested in, others seem to follow. It's not necessarily that they command the army, but certainly they have an impact, and they have a keener way of detecting what kind of prey they want to go with. They have a keener way of attacking.
We have the the slumbering queens people with us, right?
Correct, the healers.
Good. Yeah, just making sure.
For that aspect of it, yes. So the spreading of the
Yes.
plague you don't have to worry about so much. It's more of the effect of the actual armies happening. Now, Elin, of course, coming with Leon, is going to come in and be able to assist in the matter. But Leon himself is not without his own skills. He has many ways to affect his army. He gives plus to bravery. He knows tons of different tactics. So he has loads of morale bonus. He has tons of different tactics, so on and so forth. He is quite the capable leader as it is. So you don't really have to worry so much about that. As a matter of fact, just trying to, because I never really updated the sheets because I didn't think so prior to this. I actually thought we were doing this next session for some reason. Probably because I'm a dummy.
You also thought we were doing kingdom rules this session, so.
Yeah, we chatted a bunch and had fun. So,
You need to stop saying it because every time you say it, it doesn't happen.
Leon last updated was level 3. He's level 4 now, and he has different modifiers now. So his morale bonus now is like a +9 instead of a +6. He has a ton of boons. He has a expert flanker, false retreat. False retreat doesn't really work on these people. +1 to all of his DV, sniper support, flexible tactics. He has so many abilities that make it so he just fucking crushes armies pretty well. And he's bringing with him the army of Daelric, which is what, 500 soldiers.
Be pretty proficient at fighting undead by this stage.
Yeah, they would be. 500 soldiers, just getting there really quickly, which 500 counts as a huge army. And they're a legit army, not a militia. Have a base DV of 15. He makes it a 16. Just flat out, just makes it a 16 by being there, as well as other things. And he, of course, uses smart tactics when he fights. So clearly he's going to use the tactic of, what's it called? Hold firm, which makes it so that it's a DV of 19. So for them to even harm his army, they would have to roll ridiculously high. And this is why. When you do hold firm, you have a negative to all these things, so on and so forth. But also, any armies attacking you do 2 less damage. So the army would have to, with a DV of 19, would have to do 22 damage, which means they have to roll a natural 20 to even harm the army by 1 health point. And the army's base health is going to be 16, without any modifiers. So the army that you can see here of the undead, assuming it's also a huge army, 500 undead, they have a defensive value of 16. Sure, that's pretty high, but their OM is only, +4, so they have to roll at 18 or higher. You can imagine the rolls will go back and forth for a while of what's going on here, but inevitably, unless the rolls are completely garbage, we're going to win. So, what I want Ilin to do in this, because Ilin unfortunately is not a part of the army, but he's able to offer some degree of boons. Did you ever choose the boon that you have?
I was just going through that, and I think what I would I want to go with is actually the bonus tactic boon, and I want to take full defense.
Cool. Don't you have the ability to channel positive energy too?
Yes.
In the melee phase, what you're going to be able to do is aid the army in such a way that you actually deal 1d4 additional damage against undead targets. That is always against undead. You're able to sit there by being your boon to this group here. You're able to do that for them, which is pretty awesome. Instead of dealing extra damage to any army, you can also use this ability to heal itself, so on and so forth. So again, with you aiding to his thing, you can imagine this battle lasts. It's not like a quick 1 day. It's like a 3-day battle that takes place between the 500 here and the 500 there, being as defensive as possible. But with Leon at the helm, with Ilin there as a hero of Harad, and the army very well trained, serving under this commander for a long time, and the general for a long time, they are going to win this day.
Notably, he would also be summoning small fire elementals at various points during the fight. Whenever he gets like a moment of respite, he'll summon them and send them out to try and whittle them down as well.
Of course, and they'll look for us to see that, and that's more of an RP aspect, but absolutely. One of the other things, last thing to point out that's important is at one point in time, you will have the other orcs joining you. But again, Leon is going to be able to easily, with the others that are kind of like led or followed in. This is literally after the 3 days of battling. All of a sudden, you see a group of another like 200 more come in, not using the cautious tactics quite the same, being more aggressive with the tactics. Leon is able to quickly surround and just destroy these undead, just completely devastate them. So we're not going to make any rolls here because I'm just looking at the numbers, and it'd just be a long roll back and forth with a definitive win for the party. Actually, you know what? I'll be nice enough to make one roll. Tesh, leading that army,
Yep.
I'm gonna have you roll me a D100. If you roll 10 or less, no good. But the higher you roll from there, very good. Percentages, right, people?
Oh!
It is an incredible success that happens. Well, you're also able to discover in Forvin why there's screams in the middle of the night is apparently there's some type of undead, whatever it is, that is living underneath the lake and seems to be clawing its way onto the boats at night and taking not just like unsuspecting people sleeping, literally guards prepared to fight them are literally these creatures will take a couple of hits from the guards, and they like the honey badger, right? They don't give a fuck. They'll grab the guards, like literally a sword stabs into them. They'll just grab that arm, grab them by like the face, and just pull them overboard underwater. And then just like drag them underwater. And while they drag them underwater, start eating them. Like drowning alive, eating them as they're being pulled under. There's something that lives underneath the lake that has been doing it. It's not one, not two creatures, but creatures that live underneath the lake that are doing this. You imagine that they could be Scrags green, or perhaps there's some, because they've never attacked before, so perhaps there's some sort of undead, but you don't know one way or the other. Either way, I really gotta take a piss, so we're gonna take a break real quick, so we can come back and handle all this shit afterwards, okay? We'll be right back.